So hi, Wiki Weekends. Lucas is here, I'm here, and today we're talking about, what is it?
Justice League.
Oh yeah, that's going to be an interesting Wikipedia page. Can't wait to read this piece of shit. So Lucas, we'll start as per usual at the beginning, but before that, we'll have to go for the preamble of, did you watch Justice League? I'm assuming you did.
I did in cinemas, yeah.
You watched it in the cinema?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. Did you get your money back? We should clarify, me and Lucas don't like this movie, which is, I think, is a sentiment echoed by everyone except Zack Snyder, and apparently the entire cast of Justice League.
Yeah, apparently so.
Which we could talk about in a bit, because I just had a quick glance through this Wikipedia page, and there is a section dedicated to the hashtag Snyder Cut. So we're going to start with Justice League is a 2017, come on, 2017.
Fuck me.
Man, that feels like 10 years ago. Superhero film based on the DC Comics superhero team of the same name. Like, nothing will piss me off more than DC Comics' name, because it's Detective Comics.
Oh,
and it
right,
pisses
yeah.
me off every fucking time I read it. Have you ever seen the thing that someone did where they said, oh yeah, here's all the times over the past like 10 years that DC's changed their logo.
Oh,
And here's all the times Marvel's changed theirs in the last 100 years, and it's basically stayed exactly the same. And it's just so emblematic of like DC trying to play catch up. Like, what do audiences want? Anyway, it is the follow-up to 2016's Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice, and the fifth installment in the DC Extended Universe, which we've covered in another video, isn't a term used internally at Warner Bros. It was literally a joke coined by a journalist as a jab at DC for them so obviously trying to ape the Marvel Cinematic Universe that caught on, and apparently internally Warner Bros fucking hate it. Do you know how you can address that? Come up, like, actually give journalists a name for the extended universe of films you've had. Anyway, the film was directed by one Zack Snyder, you know, known enemy of comic books, written by Chris Terrio and Joss Whedon, and features an ensemble cast, who we won't mention other than Ezra Miller, because fuck Ezra Miller's Flash. Have you heard about what he's trying to do?
No.
Like, do you know why the Flash movie's not come out yet?
I have no idea about this Flash movie.
Well, they've rewritten it about 4 times. And they finally got a script that everyone was happy with. Then Ezra Miller said, no, I want to write it myself.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So basically, that's why the Flash movie's not coming out for like another 20 fucking years. Anyway, the film was announced in October 2014 with Snyder on board to direct and Terrio attached to write the script. Initially titled Justice League Part 1.
Oh.
I still wish it was called that, because then the fact another one came out would have been amazing, with a second part to follow in 2019. Well, we're in almost December of 2019, and that's not very forthcoming. Anyway, it was indefinitely delayed to accommodate a standalone Batman film with Affleck.
We've still not seen
We've still
that
not seen
yet.
light of that anyway. Principal photography commenced in April 2016 and ended in October 2016. After Snyder sat down to deal with the death of his daughter, Joss Whedon was hired to oversee the remainder of post-production, including directing additional scenes written by himself. Snyder retained sole directional credit, while Whedon received a screenwriting credit. I didn't actually know about that. I didn't know.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't know that Whedon, like, you know, just like sat down and said, no, like Zack Snyder deserves, like, you know, full credit for this turd.
I was going to say, is that him just sneakily being like, yeah, give Zack the credit.
It's all Snyder. No, man, we'll get on to that. No, with an estimated production budget of $300 million, Justice League is one of the most expensive films ever made. The film grossed $657 million worldwide against a break-even point of $750 million. The highest grossing film as of 2019 to become a box office bomb. Breaking all those records, DC. Then again, like Joker made like $1 billion, so they probably managed to write that shit off. The film received mixed reviews from critics, although action sequences and performances, particularly Godot and Miller, because that's apparently how you pronounce that. Everyone always pronounces it Godot, and then Gal Gadot, no, it's Godot.
Oh, okay.
So it's Gal Gadot, which sounds really stupid.
I mean, it sounds more stupid than a Yorkshire accent.
Right. The plot, writing, pacing, villain, and overuse of CGI were criticised. So basically everything in the film. So the only thing that's good is Wonder Woman and The Flash. Everything else sucks ass, with some appreciating the lighter tone comparing it to other DCEU films, and others finding it inconsistent. I mean, I'm amongst the people who found it wildly inconsistent.
It was very inconsistent, but at the same time, I wonder what parts were the funny parts. Was it the bit where Joss Whedon came in and reshot?
Basically, yes. It's the only good parts of the film where Superman acts like Superman.
Yeah.
The ones where you can clearly see that, like, the CGI mustache face. Oh god, is that the greatest flex by, like, you know, a studio to another studio of Henry Cavill, we want to bring him back in. He's got a mustache. Paramount, can he shave it? No. We'll give you lots of money. We don't care. Fuck it. We're going to ruin it. Oh, it's so good.
It would have been so much easier to just CGI a beard onto the entire film.
We've made a video about that very topic, Lucas, but you presumably weren't here when we recorded it. And the short story is Warner Bros. Literally edited footage of Cavill from the Justice League movie with a beard to show that it's easier to put a beard on someone's face than it is to CGI one off, and then still decided to CGI his moustache off. Presumably a picture of which is now behind me. That is the best thing. I think, like, I never saw it in cinemas because I saw that image on Twitter. And I just saw the tweet saying, this is the first shot of the Justice League movie.
That's the worst part. It's the first shot.
Anyway, let's move on. We're not going to talk about the plot because there isn't one. And we're not going to talk about the cast. Actually, no, the cast might be interesting here. Because I'm wondering how specific people got cast. Because they usually say that on Wikipedia. So, Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne / Batman, a wealthy socialite and owner of Wayne Enterprises. So we know about Batman, don't we? So he dedicates himself to protecting Gotham City from its criminal underworld, and he's a highly trained masked vigilante, equipped with various tools and weapons.
I mean, if you want to know about Batman, just go watch the Wiki Weekends.
Yeah, we've already done that. Affleck noted on how the film gave an opportunity to reinvent Batman by playing him exactly as he is in the Arkham City games, but whatever. He described that in the film, audiences will see Batman as more heroic and more of a leader. Yeah, nothing says heroic like just smashing people's face into a fucking brick wall.
Fucking branding people with a batarang.
Yeah, nothing says heroic like sentencing people to basically get beaten to death in prison. Truly the most just of all the Justice League. Batman is by nature, while not necessarily antisocial, pretty private, pretty a loner, Affleck says. And then in this movie, he's thrust into the role of having to not only work with people, but bring them together and convince them to come in and try to somehow, with Wonder Woman, hold all that community effort together. That was a really interesting thing for me to play. And it also does take us to a more traditional role for Batman in the Justice League comics, and his role with the Justice League versus that sort of a less typical version we saw in Batman v Superman, where he was blinded by rage and wanted to take on Superman. So what he's saying there is, like, this is the thing that I got handed to say about the comic books because I didn't read them because I'm Ben fucking Affleck. Oh man, the worst bit is that we never got his Batman movie because he was going to direct it, and there's all those behind the scenes shots of him in full Batman gear behind the camera, lining up shots.
That would have been the best behind the scenes. Just Batman directed a movie.
Just like full Batman directing a movie about Batman. And then apparently, like, Warner Bros. Like, oh, fuck, all these movies keep bombing. Let's not give anyone any creative control whatsoever. So Ben Affleck's like, fuck this.
And is Ben Affleck making, like, a noir movie as well? Like, he's actually good at that.
You mean Academy Award-winning director Ben Affleck? And Warner Bros. Like, let's not let him direct a movie. Henry Cavill as Kal-El / Clark Kent / Superman, a member of and the inspiration for the Justice League. He is a Kryptonian survivor and a journalist for the Daily Planet based in Metropolis. In Justice League, Superman was portrayed as more optimistic and hopeful. Just smash cut here to that scene in Man of Steel, him drowning in that pit of skulls. Because that, to me, well, whenever I hear people say, no, the Superman in Man of Steel, it actually makes sense if you watch the movie. I just like show them that scene and say, is this supposed to inspire hope in children? Is this what you want children to think of Superman just drowning in a pit of skulls?
Anyway, I thought Superman wasn't in this movie because he's dead, Karl.
Oh no, it says right here, the character was intentionally excluded from all Justice League marketing materials to emphasise his death as depicted in the end of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. Even though the end of that movie shows, like, you know, the dirt on his coffin rattling around, also, indicating he's alive.
Wasn't he, like, part of the marketing in the press anyway, in the end?
Well, no, but I think it's because like all the preview stuff immediately like got social media bombarded with the moustache, so people just knew.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is, though, is that is the first shot of the fucking movie, and they try to hide the fact he's in it. Bloody hell. And I think this sums up how little people gave a fuck about this movie, that other than Ben Affleck, none of the people here are quoted as saying anything about their character and what it meant to them or why they were cast.
Cyborg was in that movie. I forgot about that.
Yeah. You always forget Cyborg's in the movie. What cracks me up most about Cyborg's inclusion in that movie are people taking screenshots of him in the movie and then photoshopping it onto the front of a PlayStation 2 game cover, and it looks like he belongs there. It's like the final shot of Black Panther. Do you like the really bad CGI Rhino? Yeah. People keep putting it in, it's like, oh, if you told me this was like a Grand Theft Auto mod, I'd believe it. So what we're going to do now is fly straight past, like, you know, the backgrounds, how the film came to be, 'cause it's quite dry, and go onto filming. Because I think this is where we're going to have some fun, because We all know mustache. So principal photography began on April 11, 2016, with shooting taking place at Warner Bros. Studio in Leavesden, as well as various locations around London and Scotland, with additional filming taking place in Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles, and a word I can't pronounce, because it's in Iceland, and it's got, it has not one, not two, but 3 separate accents over letters. So I'm just going to leave that one to people who want to look it up. Ben Affleck served as an executive producer. I didn't know that.
No?
Okay.
But I guess that's because of his involvement with writing that Batman
Because
film
at the time it was supposed to be
happened.
directed. Yeah, do you know what I would love? If they just released it now with absolutely no fanfare.
Release the Affleck cut.
Release the Affleck cut, man. Let him on it. Right, so in May 2016, it was revealed that Jeff Johns and John Berg would produce the Justice League films and would also be in charge of the DC Extended Universe after the largely negative critical reception to the theatrical cut of Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice.
Oh, God.
Which is basically, we need to correct the course of this ship immediately, because we could just see it heading straight towards, like, you know, the part of the ocean that's unmapped, like the Bermuda Triangle of the ocean, of this metaphor, that just has box office bomb written all over it.
It just sounds to me like they tried to make an MCU, but didn't have anyone overseeing the fucking project.
They didn't have their guy in a baseball cap just saying, like,
Kevin Feige.
I am fucking in charge and my word is law. I am in charge of this universe and I am going to make sure, like, my vision is realised.
How did they not have that person?
It's weird, isn't it? They've got like 40 people, that's the problem. They have that person, but he's also got like 30 other people looking over his shoulder. Johns confirmed on June 3rd, 2016 that the title of the film is Justice League, and later stated that the film will be hopeful and optimistic in direct comparison to previous DC. So they even acknowledge, like, the previous movies in this series were fucking dour and awful and everybody hated them.
I don't know what's funnier to me, the fact that they realised that those movies were really awful.
Or the people that they hired are openly admitting it in interviews.
Not even that. They said that the Justice League was going to be, like, happy and cheerful.
It wasn't.
Fucking wasn't. It was still really fucking
Think
down.
about if this happened with the MCU. If you had people involved, like, you know, the production of those movies, like, directly shitting on previous movies in the series, saying, oh yeah, they were terrible, we're going to make it better. Like, that's unheard of. It just happened.
People
like,
don't even chat shit about Thor 2 in the MCU.
No, they just ignore it,
Yeah.
which everyone should do. So, Lucas, I think we've got the understatement of, like, the article here. Justice League had a troubled production. During filming, it was reported that the rewrites by Jeff Johns caused issues with Chris Terrario and Warner Bros. Executives. Warner Bros. Was unsatisfied with how the film was shaping up under Snyder. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in. Warner Bros., the company who owns this shit, like, we are really unhappy with Zack Snyder. And now think about all the people out there like, no, the Snyder Cut's going to be great though. Oh shit, now there is something I didn't know. It was reported that Warner Bros. Held a footage summit for writers that included Joss Whedon, Wonder Woman writer Alan Heinberg, Seth Grahame-Smith and Andrea Berloff. So basically what they did is they said, other writers, here is the movie as we have it so far, fix it.
Help.
And this is before, like, remember, this is before Joss Whedon was brought on, like, to do the rewrites and like the new scenes, which means that even before this film got released, like, Warner Bros. Like, we need to fucking fix this shit. Like, we need to correct this shit because it's like it's going nowhere.
See it heading straight towards the iceberg.
And it says here, like, Whedon was eventually hired by Warner Bros. After Snyder stepped down directorial duties. But oh fucking hell, I didn't know that.
They could see it a mile off.
They saw it coming a mile off and still shat it out as cinemas. I respect it. So you know what? We're just going to crimp out this neatly curled turd onto the cinema-going public. And oddly enough, years later, weirdos on the internet are going to be clambering to see more of it. It's like, please, Warner Bros., just shit into our mouths harder. We love it. So in May 2017, Snyder stepped down from directorial duties during post-production of the film to properly deal with the death of his daughter, Autumn Snyder. Joss Whedon, whom Snyder had previously brought on to rewrite some additional scenes. So even Snyder thought like Joss Whedon could fix this fucking film. So he took over to handle post-production duties in Snyder's place. In 2017, it was announced that the film was undergoing 2 months of reshoots in London and Los Angeles, with Warner Bros. Putting about $25 million into them, more than the typical $6 to $10 million of additional filming costs of similar films.
But it was going to make its money back, right, Karl?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Even though we've already said it's the biggest box office bomb of 2019. The reshoots coincided, here we go, with Cavill's schedule for Mission Impossible Fallout, for which he had to grow a moustache, which he was contracted to keep while filming. I love this. that he was contractually obligated to keep the stash. I'm just going to say he made a good call, because that Mission Impossible movie was pretty fucking good.
If you're going to back one movie out of the two.
It's like, who are you going to bet on? Warner Bros. With their, DC Extended Universe, which has been just shit in the bed for the past 5 years, or Mr. Box Office Dynamite himself, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
It's like, I know who I want to, I hedge my bets on. While the director of Mission Impossible, Christopher McQuarrie, initially gave the producers of Justice League permission to have Cavill shave the mustache in exchange for the $3 million it would cost to shut down production on Fallout, and then digitally fill in the mustache, executives from Paramount Pictures stepped in and rejected the idea. Oh, it's so good! It's so good! Oh, Justice League VFX's team was then forced to use special effects to digitally remove the mustache in post-production.
Can we just have a mustache cut of Justice League?
I'd watch that.
That would be so much better.
I'd watch a mustache cut. Just change nothing, but put the mustache in. It'd look better.
It would.
I think it would have been less jarring if just between reshoot scenes he just had a mustache and then didn't.
Yeah.
That would have been less jarring than the horrible monster mash face that he had. So we could, if we wanted to, Lucas, go to the critical reception page and just read some really negative reviews of this movie, but I know the section that we all want to go to, and that's the special section here that says community reaction and the quote Snyder cut. 'Cause I'm really interested in knowing where this came about. So let's see if Wikipedia can fill in some blanks for us. The divisive reaction towards the final highlighter cut of the film, with Zack Snyder leaving directorial duties and the final cut of the film in the hands of Joss Whedon, has led to an argument comparing the situation to the one experienced by the film Superman 2, which had a really troubled production, and there's the Donner cut, which is universally seen as being the superior cut of that movie because they cut out a load of shit.
Didn't know there was 2 cuts of that film.
We're probably going to make a video about it one day. It's a really famous story of executive meddling where the director's no, fuck this. I'm going to make a director's cut that's better.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So both Justice League and Superman 2 feature a director that was replaced for different reasons before completion of a film, which led to a second director coming in and making substantial changes to the tone of each film. Although the reasoning behind each director's departure differs, Richard Donner was able to complete his Superman 2 cut in 2005. In the belief that Snyder had shot enough material for a finished film, a campaign for a Snyder cut was started to allow Snyder to receive a similar treatment to Donner. We should point out at this point, it has been revealed, I think at a summit, where Warner Bros. Said, here is our plan for the next 5 years, similar to what Marvel do. They were asked directly, is there a Snyder cut and is there plans to release it? They said categorically, no. There is not enough footage for it, and if we wanted to create one, we would have to spend millions in post-production costs to clean up the VFX that were unfinished in that rough cut.
It's very weird to me that Zack Snyder randomly said to fans, I believe, a meet up or signing or whatever, he was like, yeah, the cut exists.
Yeah, it's so weird. And then he changed his mind. And then Warner Bros. Said it doesn't. And then you've got every actor in the film tweeting out #release the Snyder cut, which a lot of people thought, myself included, is going to be oh, they're bringing up buzz for it, and it's HBO Max, I think, is a thing. And they're teaming up with Warner Bros. Oh, maybe they're going to put it on there. It's the Snyder cut is on HBO Max. Go get that. And then Warner Bros. Themselves went, no, it doesn't exist. We have no plans to make one. Please stop asking about it. It's so strange.
Yeah, it's really fucking confusing.
Think about it's so baffling that this is happening with such a massive fucking company holding onto one of the most valuable and well-known pieces of intellectual property on the planet. It's crazy to think. Anyway, arguments are made that Snyder's vision would be more cohesive to previous films than the actual theatrical cut, which Snyder has refused to see. I didn't know that either.
I didn't know he's refused to see it.
Refused to see the final film. So to be fair, that's a good call, mate. So I
save you 3 hours.
So I watched it on a plane for free while half asleep, and I will say that is the optimum viewing experience for that movie. For free, and when you don't have a choice, is the best way to see that movie. Warner Bros. Has officially remained silent regarding any intention of making a Snyder cut, except for earlier this week when they said we're not fucking making one.
Days ago.
In March 2019, Snyder confirmed that his original cut does exist and stated that it's up to Warner Bros. To release it, even though, as we just mentioned, that shit's not fucking true. So Wikipedia actually out of date on this, and I'm surprised given the very rabid fan base around this film. For whatever reason.
Maybe they just don't want to update it to admit that there's not a cut.
There is no Snyder cut, man. But that week where it was, I think it was Jason Momoa tweeted it out first. Or he put an Instagram post up with a behind the scenes shot release a Snyder cut, and I was like, what's this mean? Well, maybe he's just like, he's just trying to bring up, it's like a 2-year anniversary of the film.
Yeah.
And then Zack Snyder tweeted something out. And then Gal Gadot tweeted something. And then Ben Affleck tweeted something.
Ben Affleck, who wants nothing to
do with this franchise, is even saying, it's like, holy shit. It's like, oh no, it don't exist. Fuck it. And to me, that is the perfect encapsulation of that entire mess of a movie.
Yeah.
That even Warner Bros., when confronted with millions and millions of like social media impressions on like, the idea of this thing is like, nah.
And the main actors.
Yeah.
That's the weird part, is the cast got in on it.
They're going against the direct wishes of Batman and Superman. That's the best bit. Nothing sums up this movie more than that. Of like, let's just ignore what Batman and Superman want and do our own thing.